This pipe is scary because if you fall into the water. But the reward makes it worth the risk.
What are you looking at?
A sea slug using the surface tension of the water to cruise around upside down. You need a low tide to go tide pooling, and it's not always during the day. Sometimes you need to bust out the flashlights and brave the night. On this night, the tide was dropping to about a -1 foot at 10 p.m. Light winds, light waves, not freezing cold. The conditions were great. And the dark night has many advantages. Sea creatures often feel emboldened by the night, using the shadows to slink around and do their business. But with our powerful flashlights, we can strip away their camouflage and really see what's going on. This here is a spotted triopha, a type of sea slug also known as a nudibranch. Just like land slugs, they have a sticky foot that they use to move around. They also have an amazing ability to use the ceiling of the tide pool to move around effortlessly. I can't tell if it's in focus. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw something really interesting come out of the mouth of the sea slug, and it wasn't its last meal. I wasn't sure if I had captured it, so I waited.
Oh my god.
Angela?
Yeah.
And waited.
Come on, do it again, do it again.
And waited.
Come on, do it again, please. Please show me your radula. Oh, there it is.
Sea slugs typically scrape algae off of rocks using a tongue-like structure covered in teeth called a radula, seen here. It's actually quite terrifying.
Slipping away.
Goodbye, slug. Time to move on to our next spot.
Spooky?
Can I come back?
Yeah. Just bad vibes.
These waves looked a lot bigger in person, I promise. By the way, I want to give you some points on night tide pool safety. First and most important, always bring a buddy if you go tide pooling at night. It's more safe to have more people. Make sure you check the swell and don't go to that spot unless you've been there during the day to scope it out. It's more safe to go on a dropping tide so that you don't get stuck in a situation where the tide comes back in. And make sure you always bring a light and backups just in case your flashlight dies. It's really important to know the spot before you go, because some places might look safe, but with a heavy swell, they can be dangerous. Now, here's everything else we saw that night. First are these opalescent nudibranchs. Again, this one was using the surface tension to cruise around upside down. I honestly don't see this species very often, but I've been finding them more and more in the tide pools. This one was interesting because it was missing one of its oral tentacles. This is such a beautiful species that I'm always glad to see. I also love finding crab molts, which are the exoskeletons they shed and leave behind as they grow. You can tell it's a molt when you're able to easily open it up and when it's not moving, like this one. This is a kelp crab and it had a really interesting hairdo of red seaweed. We found some more sea slugs, like this Hilton's aeolid. It doesn't look too hot right now because it's slightly out of the water. And nearby, there was a 6-rayed sea star friend. I just love watching their tube feet move around. And then there was a fish. I don't really know about fish, but I think this was a sculpin. And and it had amazing camouflage. This goopy pink blob is another sea slug, the Hopkins rose nudibranch, which looks like pink bubblegum when it's out of the water. They look a lot better when they're underwater, like these two, which were more than just friends. They were roommates. This one hadn't found a mate yet. It was just cruising around on its own. Did you see that? A hit and run. Or should I call it a shrimp and run? And then the good old keyhole limpets. They really struggle to hold onto the rocks during a low tide, which gives us the chance to see their adorable little face. This is a tiny little scallop, and what's interesting is all of the black dots around the edge are eyes. Oh, you thought we were done? Well, we're just getting to the best part. Worms. More specifically, flatworms. These tiny little red dots are a species of flatworm called Polychorus carmelensis. I don't find these too often, but when I first did, it took me so long to identify them because there are barely any observations. You rarely see them during the day because they are afraid of light, but at night they come out from underneath the rocks, and in this pool there were thousands of them. Now these things were tiny. They were only probably a couple millimeters to a centimeter long, and I just used my phone to film this. I literally just stick my phone underwater in the macro setting with the flashlight on, and I'm able to capture these amazing tiny little dynamics going on in the tide pools. And that's just to say you don't need fancy equipment to observe things. As I mentioned, they are light sensitive. It doesn't hurt them, but they would prefer to not be in the light, so a lot of them were taking a leap of faith back to their colony on the bottom. And that's it for tonight. Thanks for joining us on the night tide pooling session, and we'll be sure to see you next time.